What's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are having a good one, even though 9 out of 10, and that's not the case. But hey, you gotta keep on striving, you gotta keep on thriving, you gotta keep on living. Mock calls. We are finally doing some sort of mock review or some sort of live, sales call, and this is gonna be a setting role. So hopefully, even for the closers, they might get something out of this. Just overall, for people even starting, this is a good example of what not to do, but also what to do, because some of the things we did on there was pretty valid. But we're doing this call with one of my friends, Chris, and he also works alongside me on this team as well. And we more or less do these calls, once a week, basically just getting touch-ups, practicing, trying to get, our articulating our words right. See, I can't even do that. But yeah, so more or less practice. And it's about 30-ish minutes, so it was definitely a longer sort of a segment, but yeah, hope you guys enjoy it. And also, we're also going to be doing sort of book reviews and spin selling. I'm currently reading it, so this most likely will come back and you'll see it in maybe a few weeks or a month, because it takes me a while to read, because I cannot read. I'm still working on that habit. That's one thing. I give people credit who can just read and just read so fast and retain everything. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this, and if there's anything I could have did better. And aside from that, let's get to it.
Hey, this is Chris.
Hey, Chris, this is Matt. I'm reaching out from... Did I catch you at a bad time, man?
Yeah, man. I actually got a few things to do right now. I mean, what's this call about?
Yeah, no problem, man. It's all good. It seemed like you signed up for an options trading webinar not too long ago, actually. Did you ever get a chance to watch it or no?
A what again?
It was an options trading webinar from Options Trader on YouTube. I'm not sure if you're tracking that at all.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Man, look, man. I'm not really that interested.
Gotcha. Yeah, no problem, man. To be honest, I wouldn't be interested either. As well as someone randomly called me and was more or less asking me a bunch of questions. Do you mind if I ask you, what makes this not interesting? Is it the fact that I called you, or is it just because you're not even doing options trading?
Like he didn't even give like the cost of the program or anything. You get what I mean? So I feel like he's like trying to hide something.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Like I said, we've been getting a lot of that lately, and we're slowly trying to fix that for the future webinars and make sure that's not the case. But can you sort of elaborate, aside from the fact that they didn't have the pricing, was there anything else that just it didn't pique your interest on that part?
I would just say like the past few webinars have basically been like the same thing over and over again. You get what I mean? So gotcha. I feel like whenever I go into these webinars, I feel like I'm not really learning anything.
Okay. No, that's all good. And do you mind if I sort of give you more or less an idea and explain why in regards to why it's consistent like that?
Yeah, actually, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, no problem. And I'll even get into the pricing thing as well, because obviously that's the big question, of course. We all know that is. Yeah, more or less when we with the webinars, those are more or less for people who when they sign up, we're just trying to see if this is something that they'll be interested in. And in regards to talking about the program and everything, he likes to at least let you know about him, to then segue into the program. And for the people that are actually interested, they have these calls. So that's the whole reason why we sort of set that up, because a lot of times, say if somebody is just like half interested, and we get a lot of calls, that come in. We want to make sure we're getting the right people on, and it's not going to be, people that are just half-assing it, basically. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm not too sure that I'd be able to do that, especially with the time I have right now.
Gotcha. With the time you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, like I said, the timing thing is a huge factor, especially with this too. And we've had a lot of people in the past say, about the timing, but can you sort of elaborate on why maybe the timing wouldn't work right now?
Well, the reason why is because I have a full-time job. I work like 12 hours a week, or a day, my bad, not a week.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, and I just don't know. I don't know if I could possibly find time. Maybe I could if I got rid of some distractions, but it just have to make sense for me.
Gotcha. It has to make sense. Yeah. No, that totally, like I said, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, it definitely seems like there's some traction here in regards to maybe your interest, right? You mind if I at least ask you a few questions just to get a gauge on where you're at, and if this is something you want to have a conversation with later on?
Yeah, go ahead.
Gotcha. So it seems like we already kind of got the scale on how long you've been sort of doing it, and kind of like what you're doing on the outside aside from that.
Yeah.
You know, with this like sort of program and kind of like what we do, we'd like to get a gauge on what your personal goals are for it. So say, you know, what sort of a monthly profit that you'd like to make if you were to do this?
Well, I'd love to make at least a 5% return. So because it does depend on how much you're willing to put into your portfolio, you know. So
of course, you took the words right out of my mouth. A lot of people don't think like that, you know. I get a lot of people that randomly, you know, like, oh, you know, I want to make at least 10,000 a month, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's a good number. That's a good number. I was like, how much are you willing to allocate? And then they're just like, you know, right now I only have like 1,000 or 2,000, and I'm like, it's definitely gonna take you some time, man.
Yeah.
It's not, you know. No, that's a good, you know, starting point. And
because like I understand this is not a rich quick scheme, so you know, I feel like it takes some time in order to like, you know, make some funds, especially doing this as a beginner. But you know, if I could at least get 5% each month, I'd be happy with that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
no, that makes sense, man. And in regards to the allocation portion of that, because obviously, since you said there's a certain amount that you have to allocate to get to those goals, right? How much are you willing to allocate in spending power?
I would say around, I would like to start low, so honestly don't know how to answer that question. I was thinking somewhere around like the range of 5K to 10K.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem. Yeah, no, that's all good. Even if you weren't able to understand maybe how, you know, how much you would have to spend, you know, to reach that goal.
Yeah.
That's sort of something that we'll dive in a little bit, but man, it seems like, and in regards to the motivation aspect, you're working the 12 hours a day. Clearly, does this seem like something that you want to use to replace that?
I mean, if it's possible, yeah, because you know, I'm just tired of working a 9 to 5, you know, getting bossed around by people. I just want to have like my own thing where I can make some money on the side, you know, and not worry about money, and be financially free and have time freedom as well.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, look, it seems like the best thing to do at this point, and we'll sort of dive in, especially if you still want the pricing thing as well, but we'll dive into, you know, maybe setting you up with the enrollment specialist, and they can get you a better gauge on how much the pricing is, you know, what you might need in regards to your goals. But I have a list of times here throughout the week that we have where you can set up a call. I'm gonna go over them if you don't mind, and would this be something that you want to set up?
What's going on, everybody? So for the rest of this video, we more or less go into the discussion portion of the mock call and what we could have did better. But overall, with that, you know, we're gonna make more of these, and we're gonna do more just quick fire objections, so it can relate to a lot of you guys on what, you know, offer you might be on. But this was more or less to kind of show you, you know, kind of how you can segue into different things, and more or less take the certain things that I said as like, you know, ammo in regards to, you know, how can you transition to getting the booking, how can you say the right words and everything. But this is the first one. There's going to be more like this, and they're going to be a lot more general and more basic, and we're going to go over specific scenarios. But aside from that, there's a little bit more discussion here, and there's a lot more gems coming your way. But once again, I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
So couldn't elaborate be like replaced by why?
What do you mean by that? Can you give me an example?
Could you elaborate? Could you tell me why? And then you could go into the next question.
Are you more or less asking, like, could you, like, for the prospect, if you were to say to the prospect, oh, could you sort of tell me why that might not be it?
Yeah.
I think it's just obviously the way you have to say it, you know, because
yeah,
I mean, you could say it where you're like, I mean, well, can you tell me why then? And then it's just like, no. Like, you know,
yeah. I know in like the little training group that we have, Warren talks a lot about asking why, because like it gets like a lot out of the person. Like, elaborate, like, seems like, I mean, it's a good word, don't get me wrong, but I feel like why would be so like much stronger.
Because it's more upfront.
Yeah.
Elaborate sounds like you're trying to be fancy.
Yeah. Basically, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, we've been really trying to work on that and trying to get a lot more accurate information and make it a lot more helpful. But do you mind if I sort of tell you why it's sort of like that right now? And then it's kind of like, you know, you're at least siding with them in a way.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense, yeah.
You're more or less acknowledging the fact that that wasn't stated correctly, or like acknowledging the fact that, hey, like, I totally get you. I'd be the same way, especially if I'm trying to learn. But do you mind if I tell you why it's sort of like that right now? And then at least, another thing that I was, David brought up, and because he was doing mocks with Warren, and Warren was he was like firing on all cylinders basically, where he was just like giving him every objection he could think of. And there's a really good one that David said really quick, and I was just like, it was kind of like a duel. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Because he was like, well, I mean, it seems, for the prospect, he was like, well, I mean, it seems like, you know, you guys just showed up out of nowhere, and like, there's no real evidence, there's no testimonials, there's nothing. I mean, you know, like, how am I gonna trust the fact that you guys, you know, are what you say you are? And then David sort of was just like, yeah, no, that's all good, man. You know, you mind if I ask, you know, why is that important to you though? And then that was just like, because after that, I was just, dude, I was like, that was quick to ask that. It was, but that's definitely, I feel like if you ever get something like that, like somebody's calling out the program.
I've gotten something like that like twice maybe while I've had this position, and I've never known how to like actually answer it, but like tell them like, hey, look, I could send you over some testimonials and let you look over it, and then we could have a follow-up call.
That wraps up the first mock call. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Hope you guys got a good amount of nuggets out of there, a good amount of gems, and maybe what to do and maybe what not to do. But we're going to be doing this weekly. It's going to add on to our second videos that we do, where we just talk about life, we talk about sales, we talk about military, we talk about all that stuff. But this is a good example for people to see kind of where we are right now, and you know, where we're going to be in 2 years. It's exciting. It is exciting. But I couldn't thank the opportunities that I've had enough in regards to, you know, the sales group that I'm in and the opportunity that I have right now for the offer that I'm doing. It has taught me so much in the matter of, you know, a few weeks that you can't replace it. You can't replace it. So if you're military and you have some extra time on your hands after work and you feel like this is something you could do to better yourself, let me know. Send me a DM on Instagram and we'll get to talking. And if there's anybody just in general that wants to know a little bit more about the programs and a little more about, not even the programs because there's not a program, but like what the group is and kind of, you know, just the community in general, like I said, let me know. Be more than happy to talk to you guys about it. But aside from that, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. And from the top of the world, batteries still don't exist, to the bottom of the depths where life still lives, do you dare to dream? As a matter of fact, do you dare to take the next step? I'll see y'all later.